Hey guys, Chad and Sam here. We're going to do a quick podcast for you. It's been a couple months since the last one, but we felt we wanted to get a short one out to you to go over some details on the upcoming Aevitas Triathlon. We've been kind of pushing it in class, and you've been seeing maybe some emails, but maybe just wanted to hear a little bit more from us about it and why we think you should consider doing it and who it's right for. So I'll start just by going over the details, and then I'm gonna ask Sam to kind of weigh in with his experience as a triathlon athlete. It's August 29th. That's a Sunday morning at 8:30. The actual heats start at 8:30. Athletes will be expected to show up ahead of time. You'll get an email with all those details, and there will typically be a briefing and a whole registration phase. But the first heat will start at 8:30, and it's at Towasentha Park, which, if you don't know, is down in Guilderland. It's about 7 minutes from the Guilderland location. It's a beautiful park. It's got a pool. We actually started in Towasentha Park before we had a physical gym back 8+ years ago. So it's kind of like a little bit of a homecoming for us, which is why we love the park. And so it's that Sunday. The event itself is composed of 3 parts. The first part is a swim or a ski. If you're in the pro division, you'll swim. If you're in the amateur division, you'll ski. The swim is a 500-meter swim. Now, the pool down there is measured in yards. It's 25 yards, one length, aka a lap. Down once is 25 yards. So you're going to do 22 laps of in the pool to accrue essentially 500 meters. And then you're going to do a 2K. If you're in the amateur division, you're going to do a 2K ski instead. The skiers will be down there. If you're not comfortable getting in the pool and swimming, the ski is a great option. And it's going to similarly mimic the stimulus. Then it's a 15K bike. That's a road bike. You will be doing laps around the park in Towasentha. So it will be technically an open course, meaning there will be traffic, but we will have signs, and it's a Sunday morning. We don't expect a ton of traffic. If you don't have a bike or you're not comfortable biking, you have a 15K assault bike option, which we've tried to program to take about the same amount of time. And that's going to depend on who you are and how kind of capable you are on the bike, but it's the same distance for road bike versus assault bike. And then finally, it finishes with a 2.5K trail run. And if you're doing the math, it's like 1.5 miles. Okay, it's not that long, and it's fun because it's a trail. You're kind of going up and down and around. It's a nice way to kind of finish strong. That's the event itself. Afterwards, we will have an after party. We got some vendors coming in. Ritual 518, Say Cheese food truck, and then also Mixed Breed is going to be supporting us with some frosty beverages. And we all around are very excited for it. It's going to be a great morning. There's always a question mark when it comes to the weather. Hopefully the weather cooperates. As of right now, we have about 26 people signed up, last I checked. And the really exciting part to me is that there's 6 people on that list that aren't even members of our gym. And that's one thing I want to kind of emphasize here is, hey, you can invite anybody to this thing. It's a kind of third party, neutral site. It doesn't have the same intimidation factor as the gym. If you have somebody that's maybe a running friend of yours and wants to just dabble and get out and try something new, send them the link, send them the blog post so that they can check it out. So that's the event in a nutshell. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is where I'm going to kind of pass it off to Sam, is who is this appropriate for? Because some of you may be thinking, yeah, I'm not an endurance athlete. I do CrossFit. I enjoy that, but I can't swim. I can't bike. I can't run. I can't do all that stuff. Who should consider doing this triathlon, Sam?
I mean, I think the answer is pretty obvious. Pretty much anybody can consider doing it. it's one of those moments. It's not that long of a event. It's really only going to take about an hour, maybe a little bit under, maybe a little bit over to do the whole thing. So it's really not much longer than some of the longest CrossFit WODs that we'll do. So you don't need to, there's no real change in terms of what the requirements are of your fitness, right? So anybody should really do this, and it's a good opportunity to kind of test the waters, so to speak, no pun intended. If you've always been curious about triathlons, if you've never done one before, but you've wanted to, this is a great opportunity to be able to hop into it, especially even if you don't, you're not a strong swimmer, right? Because we do have that ski erg option. So we have multiple options there for you guys to get into this sport, or at least see what this sport is all about. I know from doing triathlons for a little bit now, and you can talk to pretty much anyone who's ever gotten into the longer distance triathlons, that one of the biggest barriers to entry is just the sheer cost of it. To do a half Ironman or a full Ironman, it's upwards of $400 to $800 to just for entry fee. So barrier to entry for cost wise is usually one of the biggest things. So a lot of people get turned off by that. Now, sprints and Olympics are generally cheaper. But this is, one step further down than that. And you don't have to have the bike. If you don't have a bike, you can just assault bike. If you're not looking to get a wetsuit, you don't really need that for the pool anyways, but you don't have to pay the $150 it is for a wetsuit. So there's a lot of relief in terms of the cost of this. So if you ever looked at wanting to do a triathlon, and you've been on the fence about it because of the cost, this is probably one of the best ways to try it out, to actually see if it's for you. So
I like that. It's like, I keep coming back to the word dabble. Like, it's a great way to just try it and have such a low barrier to entry. It's $35 for members to do it, and essentially all the proceeds after you get your t-shirt are going to go to the STEM organization. STEM is Stronger Through Every Mile. It's a local couch to 5K program for victims of domestic violence. And it's a super great organization. It's very small. They were floored when we sent them the check last year from the triathlon. They were like, the woman told us that she felt like she was almost in tears because it was so it meant so much to them. So it's for a great cause. It's just to dabble, low barrier to entry. Really, if you don't have something going on that weekend and you're not coming down to at least cheer somebody on, like, you're missing out on a great opportunity. Sam, so just on the swim, I'm just kind of thinking this out a little bit more. What if somebody wants to try it and they get into the pool and things aren't going well, and when the swim, people can get panicky. There's that moment where people can kind of panic, holy crap, I'm struggling in the water. There's going to be a lifeguard on duty.
Mm-hmm.
Half of the pool is in the shallow end, so you pretty much just have to stand up or grab the edge of the pool. If that happens, you could get out of the pool and dry off and just be done, or finish the race with the ski erg. If you really don't feel comfortable getting back in the pool, just dry off and hop on a ski erg and be on with it, right?
Sure.
Even if you're on the fence with the swim, there's an out. You're in a safe space.
For sure. And the swim, a lot of people are intimidated by the swim. That's probably one of the biggest things that turns people off from triathlons, that and the need for a bike and all the other equipment. But the swim is usually one of the biggest ones that turns people off. And the good thing about the pool is, like Chad said, you can touch the bottom in half the pool. I mean, you can touch the bottom in any part of the pool. It's just a matter of if your head's above water or not. And you have a lifeguard and stuff like that. But I know several people who have done half and full Ironmans who don't really know how to swim that well, and their whole goal is just to survive the swim, and they literally doggy paddle or breaststroke the whole thing. You don't have to be a world-class swimmer. You don't have to be a former college level or high-end high school swimmer. You don't have to have any of that. Really, you could float your way through it and do just fine.
You could even take breaks because, like I said, there's a shallow in there. You could literally swim it down and back and then just take a quick second, catch your breath, compose yourself, and just keep doing that to get through it. I mean, that's it. Like I said, it's so low risk, so low barrier to entry. If you're even gently considering it, we will highly implore you to just do it.
Yeah. And the big thing with the swim too is the one of the best pieces of advice I got when I went and did my Ironman and all my half Ironmans really was you survive the swim. You make sure your bike doesn't break on the bike, obviously, and then your run is a victory lap because you survived the first two events, and that's all it is. So, if you get in the pool and you make it through the whole swim, that's a victory in and of itself, because a lot of people won't even attempt that in the first place. So if you're on the fence about the pool, if you're not a super strong swimmer but you can swim, I highly recommend trying the swim, because it's one thing to do on the ski erg. We as CrossFitters do that every day. It's a whole nother thing to be able to say, like, hey, I got in the pool, I did 500 yards. It's an accomplishment in and of itself to be able to do that. So it's a good test of your fitness. It's something we don't do, unknown and unknowable type of stuff with CrossFit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. This is definitely not a wheelhouse thing for most of our members, which is why we want to do it. I'll get into that a little bit more. If you need a little bit more external motivation to do it, we are going to have some prizes, some gift cards. We're going to have some medals. We're going to do top 3 men and top 3 women in both RX and in both, pro and amateur. And there's going to be some gift cards. There's going to be some post race smoothies, like I said, beverages as well. So there are some prizes for participation. Oh, and a t-shirt. Anna designed an awesome t-shirt for it. So if you need those carrots dangling in front of you, there are plenty of carrots to reach for as well. Last question, Sam. Should I consider modifying my training at all over the next, really what amounts to about almost just a little over 2 weeks now for this?
No, no, not at all. I mean, I wouldn't. Again, like we talked about before, if you're coming to CrossFit regularly, you have the capacity already to do a good hour-long workout, just like a Murph style workout, right? That's more intense than what a triathlon is honestly going to be. So you don't really need to change.
It's like Murph. It's basically like a Murph time domain, right?
Right. Exactly. It is. It's now about an hour long, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on how fast you are in certain elements. The bike will always take the longest, so that will be where you spend most of your time. But no, you really shouldn't. The only thing, I would recommend doing is make sure you get into the water and on your bike. If you're going to swim, try to find a pool and just hop in and see what it feels like to swim a little bit distance. Yep. It shouldn't discourage you. If you can't get into a pool, don't let it discourage you from trying it day of. And then also with the bike, if you haven't ridden your bike in a really, really long time, make sure that you can get on it and ride it without any training wheels. Make sure you can be out there and
the chain stays on.
Yeah. Make sure your bike isn't, falling apart. Make sure your tires are pumped up and that kind of thing. Just take it out for a spin really quick. Other than that, no, you don't need to change. Especially if you're coming to Round Lake and Aevitas, we're doing plenty of aerobic capacity work currently, so you're not going to have an issue with any of the elements really.
And I know that I think you feel similarly, but one of the big things for me this year has been doing other things outside of just hitting CrossFit WODs and being able to lean on my fitness, just like my base, right? Like we do all of this great work in the gym so that we can go out and do other things. And I think that this event is a great showcase of that. Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable in a different way, and your mind might not be ready for that, but you physically are capable of doing it, and therefore you should, because you can.
For sure. We had quick note on that. We had in 2019, we had upwards of like 10 people or so do the half Ironman, the last one that they had in Lake Placid. And many of them had never done a single triathlon before in their life. And they went out there and they practiced swimming a little bit. They got bikes. They got on their bikes for a little bit. And over the course of, I think we had about a 34-week training cycle or so, 32-week training cycle. Over the course of that time period, they went from never having done a triathlon before to having done a half Ironman, one step removed from a full Ironman. And just for those of you who don't know, a half Ironman is 1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike, and a half marathon. So it's 13.1 miles. So, this triathlon, because and I attribute that solely to the base of fitness that they had from CrossFit. So if you're looking at this being like, I'm not good at running, I'm not good at swimming, I'm not good at biking, just know that your base level of fitness from CrossFit is already so high that this will be very, very doable for you. If people can take some time just to develop the skill of swimming and biking and then go do a half Ironman in less than a year, you can do this. So with very minimal training. So
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
I love that. I think that captures kind of the essence of one of the reasons why I do CrossFit, because it allows you to just go out and be able to do more, whatever you think more needs to be for you. Lastly, on the day of the triathlon, we're actually going to be canceling the in-gym classes. We're going to host an 8 a.m. WOD down at Tawasenta. It's most likely going to be on the stage, the GPAC stage there. Coach Dave is going to run that. The idea is we want to get more people down there to kind of view, spectate, and participate. But we still want to get you guys a workout. So come on, if you don't want to do the triathlon, but you want to get a workout in, come on down, hit the 8 a.m., and then stick around afterwards to cheer people on and be part of the kind of post-race festivities. It should be a great time.
Nice. Cool.
And with that, unless you have anything else to add, Sam, we're going to wrap this up. And you guys just let us know if you have any questions. We'll get after them.
I think that's all I got.
All right. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Chad.